Welcome into Steelers Latest, your daily spot for all news and information related to your Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm your host, Cole Denis, and please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content to stay up to date with everything Steelers. Let's get rolling as it's time to look forward instead of backwards. We've been looking backwards the past 2 days this week, so now it's time to look towards week 3 and the New England Patriots. Let's talk about the three most concerning things heading into this game, in my opinion. First off, Aaron Rodgers, how long can we expect his body to hold up? He's been sacked 7 times already through 3 weeks. 4 against the Jets in week 1, 3 against the Seahawks in week 2. He's 41 years old. A 41-year-old can't take a beating like that forever until his body gives out on him. I know I'm not living as Aaron Rodgers, so I don't exactly know how his body feels, but I can imagine he's waking up sore every Monday so far throughout this season. Second off, coaching and defensive execution of the game plan have to be better. Uh, through the first 2 weeks, I've told you what the Jets and the Seahawks are going to do. They're going to try to feed their running back, and they're going to try to feed their Ohio State wide receiver. And what were both teams able to do against us? Feed their running back and feed their Ohio State wide receiver. Both running backs we've played, Brees Hall and Kenneth Walker, over 100 yards. Both number one wide receivers for the Jets and the Seahawks. You got Garrett Wilson, you got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Both had 95-plus yard games on 7-plus receptions. Unacceptable. Take one of those away, please. We can't be letting them do everything that makes their offense function at a high level. Those were two mediocre offenses. We got another mediocre offense, in my opinion, coming to town. Let's shut them down. We can't have this terrible defense. I said it was going to be historic in the beginning of the year before the season started. It's been historic, but historically bad, historically in the wrong direction. So please don't make me look like an idiot anymore because the talent is there, the payroll is there, 168 million for 30 plus points in back-to-back weeks is not what the Steelers had in mind when they were signing those checks and mailing them to these players. And finally, we got a whole bunch of injuries starting to stack up on the defensive side of the ball. Let's start with the players already ruled out for this Sunday's game against the Patriots. Isaiah Loudermilk and Alex Highsmith both out with high ankle sprains. Now, to the questionable players for week 3, Deshaun Elliott, Derek Harmon, and Joey Porter Jr. all questionable in this game. We don't know if they're going to be going this Sunday against the Patriots. I would love to see Derek Harmon get his first reps. I would love to see Joey Porter Jr. come back and be actually help this secondary that's been getting torched besides Jalen Ramsey. Everywhere else, though, it feels like we're getting torched, especially down the middle of the field. Joey Porter Jr., we need him to supply the help. Also, Deshaun Elliott, he can be a guy that comes over the middle and jars balls loose. So I'd like to see him come back soon also, but can't rush him because then the injuries could just compile even more for a long period of time. Now, like to say I'm confident in backups in playing hard and playing well for us, but so far through this season, my confidence has been destroyed by this team's defense. The two backups I have somewhat of confidence in. Nick Herbig, I've always been high on him. I think he can be better than Alex Highsmith on the other side from TJ Watt. Once again, had a splash play last week. And Chuck Clark, I think, is a hard hitting safety in the secondary who provides good tackling ability. His coverage sometimes lacking, but I like his ability to jar balls loose with his hard hitting ability. I also would like to see our stars start to step up with TJ Watt and Cam Hayward. TJ Watt, second highest paid defender in the league, doesn't have a sack yet. Miles Garrett's had like 3 sacks last week against Lamar Jackson. I might be over exaggerating there, but I know he at least got one against Lamar. Uh, Cam Hayward, you're looking for a new contract. You're looking for a little pay raise. Earn it because what you've been doing hasn't been good. So we need our stars to step up for us. Now let's talk about some new additions to the team as the Steelers added player on offense and defense yesterday with wide receiver Isaiah Hodgins joining the squad. Now, is this a big signing at wide receiver that we were looking for? Absolutely not. Does it add more depth to the receiver room? For sure it does. But do I think he's going to be much of a factor for us? Not really. I don't think we're going to see much of him this week, really at all. Maybe as the season progresses, he'll get more reps. But for now, I really don't think he's going to be much for us. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he has bounced back from his New York Giants times because it wasn't really too spectacular when he was playing for the Giants. The second side of that, on the defensive side of the ball, Juwan Bentley. This is probably the better signing of the two, in my opinion, just because he's a his 3 years in New England before last year, where he was dealing with a torn pec, 100 plus tackle seasons. Now, is that because the defense in New England was on the field a lot because their offense wasn't too good? Probably, but it's good to know he can bring players down when needed to. He's going to be a good rotational linebacker for us, and he'll back up Patrick Queen or Peyton Wilson, and I think he'll be able to provide solid reps when they are out. And also, he has a familiar face in the building with Jabril Peppers, former teammate from New England. So hopefully that helps him get a little more comfortable in the locker room before he has to step out on the field for us. Now let's wrap today's show up with a couple depth chart changes, just some minor moves, but some big kind of impactful ones in my opinion. First off, Caleb Johnson won't be returning kicks this weekend anymore, as Kenneth Gainwell will be back there, which is great in my opinion, because I don't know why we ever had Caleb Johnson back returning kicks. I know he's a rookie. You want to get him the ball and see if he has any explosion out there, but I just don't think kick returning is Caleb Johnson's game. Uh, we have proven players in the past that have shown they're able to return kicks or punts. Calvin Austin, Jalen Warren, Calvin Austin especially. I know they're starting for us on the offensive side of the ball, and we don't want to risk injury. Let's take a look back at time when Antonio Brown was the best receiver in the league, and we had him returning punts because he was really good at it. Put Calvin Austin back there. He's really good at it. Uh, I just don't get it because in that time, Antonio Brown was definitely more valuable to the team than Alston or Warren is in this time. I just don't understand what the thought process is on the return unit so far, just because Caleb Johnson doesn't, he never really, in my opinion, showed the explosiveness a returner should have. He's explosive in the backfield, but in the return game, you want one of the fastest players on your team returning the ball, and Calvin Austin is exactly that for us. And final depth chart change was Carson Bruner being promoted to the second string left inside linebacker behind Patrick Queen. I think this is another great move from the Steelers. I think he had a great preseason performance for us this year. He's a seventh round rookie. I'd love to see him get on the field before the season ends, and this is a great opportunity to get him on the field early because he will be getting reps this weekend probably when Patrick Queen is resting on the sideline, needs a breather. You have Carson Bruner coming, and he did perform well in the preseason. I think he led the league team in tackles in the preseason. Don't quote me on that for sure, but he definitely was able to stack up tackles in the preseason. And that's something we need to do. We need players that are bringing people down right now. And it just feels like we haven't been able to do that in the first 5 yards of plays. We've been able to do that in 5 to 20 to 80-yard plays. We were able to bring them down later in the play, but we're not bringing them down close to the line of scrimmage, and teams are chunking us down the field consistently. And hopefully Bruner can maybe provide a spark on his limited reps this weekend, and we can see a flash in the pan from the rookie. But that has been it from Steelers Latest. I've been your host, Cole Denis, and I will see you tomorrow.